be seated. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm so very happy to see you all this morning as you join us for this very significant occasion for the Jamaica Library Service. We will now start the program, which will be the official launch of the project entitled Jamaica Library Service Using Technology to Empower Individuals and Communities for Development. My name is Maureen Thompson, Master of Ceremonies. At this time, I want to just give a little background of where we are. We are, in fact, at the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Library, but we are also into the Joyce Robinson Hall, and just to tell you that this hall was named in honor of the first Jamaican director of the Jamaica Library Service, Dr. the Honorable Joyce Robinson. At this time, I want to acknowledge members at the head table, starting with the Honorable Minister, Reverend Ronald Thwaites, Minister of Education, Mr. Paul Layla, Chairman, Jamaica Library Board, Mrs. Karen Barton, Director General, Jamaica Library Service. I would also like to acknowledge members of the audience, Chief Executive Officers and Senior Managers from the private and public sector, officials from the Ministry of Education, partners, stakeholders, board members of the Jamaica Library Service, chairmen of parish library committees, members of the library fraternity, the media, performers, other distinguished guests, members of staff, thank you for being here. I would want to start at this time, as we normally do, by inviting Reverend Dr. Adeline White, Vice Chairman of the Manchester Parish Library Committee, to offer prayer.
Let us pray. O God, our Father, we gather today in your name. We thank you for your presence among us. Thank you for the generosity of Bill and Melinda Gates, who through their gift of money have made this project possible. We ask that you bless the proceedings of this day and all who will benefit. We pray for all institutions of learning, libraries, schools, colleges, and universities, that they may more and more unveil the wondrous things of your law and draw all to adore you with mind and heart and soul. We pray for our nation, Jamaica, land we love. We pray for our leaders, and in particular, your servants, Portia and Andrew. Increase in all of us in Jamaica the sense of human brotherhood, true respect for man and for woman, loyalty in service and charity, happiness in work, and justice in reward. That our homes may be kept safe and pure, our cities, towns, and villages renewed in beauty and order, and all the world, we pray, may reflect the radiance of your kingdom. And finally, we ask you, O God, to keep us this day in health of body and soundness of mind, in purity of heart and cheerfulness of spirit, in contentment with our lot and charity with our neighbor, and further all our lawful undertakings with your blessing. In our labor, strengthen us. In our pleasure, purify us. In our difficulties, direct us. In our perils, defend us. in our troubles, comfort us, and supply all our needs according to the riches of your grace in Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. White. I would like to at this time also acknowledge members of the media, including JIS, and JIS is providing live streaming of this function for us at www.jis.gov.jm. I'm also inviting you to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JLS Empowering Jamaica, like us on Facebook at JLS Empowering Jamaica, hashtag Tech4Empowerment. At this time, if you look on your program, we have welcome and opening remarks by our chairman, Mr. Paul Layla. So I invite him at this time to extend welcome and opening remarks.
Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies. Madam Master of Ceremonies, Honorable Reverend Ronnie Thwaites, Minister of Education, ministry officials, many of you here, welcome. Members of the Jamaica Library Service Board, I see a couple. Thank you for joining me this morning, supporting me. Director General Karen Barton and other Library Service staff, our committed partners, media, special guests, good morning. On behalf of the Jamaica Library Service family, it is my great pleasure to welcome you here this morning on what is for us a transformational project, and aptly named Using Technology to Empower Individuals and Communities in Development. I have to again thank the Minister for making time in his very, very, very busy schedule. I'm happy to say that the couple of minutes that he was late this morning was on our behalf, raising money for us. So we're very, very happy he was late, and we hope he was successful. But as usual, he has agreed to be the hardest working man on the program by not only accepting our invitation to deliver the main address, but also to be the project launcher, so to speak, when we get to that point. So thank you, Minister. You're ably supported this morning by Dr. McLean, Dr. Johnston, and other members of your team. Thank you for being here. We look forward to sharing this special day with you. Today has been a long time in the making, and it has been achieved through the outstanding effort and commitment of the project team, ably led by our former Director General, Mrs. Pat Roberts, assisted by our current Director General, Mrs. Karen Barton, and a team of JLS staff that worked night and day, flew all over the place to try and make sure this came to pass. And it has. This is a remarkable achievement for us. It's the first Caribbean nation to receive such a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We think that the quality of staff, it gives me great pride to be a figurehead, so to speak, of such a great team. They work tirelessly in their mission, and I know that that tireless effort is going to ensure that this plan, this project plan, is implemented to perfection. So we look forward to watching you guys at work, and we know it's going to be a tremendous success. A project of this magnitude also needs funding. And as we have said, we've asked the Lord's blessing on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but I would also like to thank, on behalf of Jamaica and the Library Service, that foundation and their Global Libraries Initiative for deeming us worthy of receiving such a significant sum of money towards improving ICT in Jamaica, and via that improving Jamaica altogether. And we look forward as many of you might know, the Library Service is the single largest provider of, or already the largest provider of free access to the internet. So you can imagine that when we spend the money that we have been granted, along with sizable contribution from the government of Jamaica, how much more we can do towards developing Jamaica. We believe that this project will allow Jamaicans to play a significant role in achieving the 2030 vision that we have outlined for ourselves. What I think is important is something that the minister said in another launch he did that I was a part of a week or so ago, which was it's time that as a Ministry of Education and as a nation, we start to provide human resources that are trained in such a way that they're in line with the needs of those that are likely to employ them. It is valuable to learn English, to learn maths, to learn geography, to learn history, as we have done through traditional education. But what is also now of vital import is that we bring greater levels of knowledge in those things that businesses of today need, and that is a greater knowledge of ICT, a greater knowledge of other business practices that are out there that we need to focus on. I know the minister is committed to it, and I hope the Jamaica Library Service will be able to, through this project, help him along that path to ensure that we achieve that particular goal. Being a member of the private sector, I'm looking forward to it as well. So, you know, that I think is important. The importance, it's always great to get a project up and running, and we've been given money to do it. But in all things, sustainability is the key. And once the money that we've been graciously donated by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and by the government is at an end, we will need partners. And as such, we have a few on board today already of our corporate partners, and we look forward to, and we'll be walking out cap in hand to try and sustain this project by raising corporate partnerships. And if our corporate partners believe, as I do, that this project will assist them in the long run by providing human resources that can satisfy the needs they have, then I think this is a win-win. And as such, I believe it will be quite an easy sell. And those of you from the private sector that are here that have already contributed, thank you. And you know we expect you to continue contributing, but please know we'll also be out there trying to attract those of you who are here who haven't yet signed on the dotted line. So we look forward to that meeting and that initiative in taking place. In closing, on behalf of the board, the management, the staff, I'd like to thank you all again, magnificent turnout, for being here, and we look forward to sharing this very special day with you. Thank you.
I want to thank Mr. Leila very much for those remarks and also for the messages that he conveyed in advocating for public libraries, for more funds, and for sustainability of this project that we are implementing. I want to let you know at this time that we are launching the project and also in a very important week. We are celebrating Library Week. This week is Library Week, and by so doing, I would like you to allow me to recognize in the audience the president of the Library and Information Association of Jamaica, Mrs. Vivian Carr-Williams, and also right next to her, right in front of me there, Mr. Ryan Ware, and he's here for the week to do some presentations at the seminar organized by the association. Mr. Ware is from the Indiana State University, and he is the library technologies librarian there. So we want to acknowledge their presence this morning. So following on from what Mr. Leila just mentioned, I think you would have to be outside of Jamaica not to know by now that the Jamaica Library Service is the recipient of a very generous grant award from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this award is to implement the project that is on your program, that we have all been talking about, Jamaica Library Service using technology to empower individuals and communities for the development. So at this time, I am going to invite our Director General, Mrs. Karen Barton, to tell you some more about the project.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure now to tell you a little bit more about our project, and it's going to be a PowerPoint presentation, so could you please turn your attention to the screen? Okay, just a little background to the project. This project had its genesis many, many years ago when one of our former directors, Mrs. Gloria Salmon, had discussions with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to help Jamaica with ICT project, because at that time the foundation was working with libraries in America and libraries across the globe to carry out expansions to libraries. So, and this was followed later on by our next Director General, Mrs. Patricia Roberts, and for several years we applied for the Access to Learning Award, which was funded by the foundation and given to a public library who had demonstrated innovativeness. But of course, we were not successful. And at one time, we're thinking, oh, we have applied so many times, it's time for us to take a break. And just at the time when we were thinking to do that, in June 2012, we received a letter of interest from Global Libraries, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to invite us. They told us that we were one among four Caribbean libraries, 4 libraries in the Caribbean and Latin America that were pre-selected to apply for the grant. So you can imagine how happy we were, because the initial award that we were looking at was for $50,000, and now we were being told that there's another award available for $2 million. So you can imagine how we felt. So of course, immediately we began to plan and to say, okay, we're going to apply for the award. And of course, this took over a year because we had to, they want the application to be done in a certain way. So we had to go to Seattle for training and how they wanted the document to be done. So a number of the management team, we went to Seattle for training. We met with some of the other country grantees to hear how their programs went. And of course, the rest is history. And so today we are here celebrating the award. And I'm going to put the award in context by highlighting our mission statement. And the highlights there are just for this program. And it says, the Jamaica Library Service exists to enable national development through the creation and support of a knowledge-based society of culturally aware, lifelong learners by providing universal access to information. This will be achieved by being customer-focused and technology-enhanced in an aesthetically pleasing environment and by a well-trained, competent, and empowered team. So with our mission in hand, we proceeded, and here we are today. We signed the project agreement in November 2013. The project is for 3 years, and so it will end in November 2016. The project, using technology to empower individuals, will provide for Jamaicans increased access to ICT through the addition of ICT resources across 127 public library locations, and will also provide new and enhanced programs and services, training in ICT skills for not only the users, but also for the staff. This poster that you see coming up, we had a competition among staff members to develop a poster that would best depict the project. So this is what the winning poster looks like, because we see this, this grant as helping us to support major social change in Jamaica, impacting the areas of education and digital inclusion. The persons who won the poster competition are from the Manchester Parish Library. The project objectives. There are 5 objectives. 1, to provide Jamaicans with increased access to ICT services, provide ICT and other training programs to promote personal, organizational, and national development, provide new and enhanced programs and services responsive to users or non-users and also stakeholders' needs, promote programs and services to existing and potential users to increase library usage, create a greater awareness of the value of public libraries in communities to build local and national support. The funds we received, as you have heard, was just about $2 million. We were told we could not go over $2 million, so we went as close as possible. So we were at $1,999,600. And also the government of Jamaica is co-funding the program to the tune of $1.133 million US. As our chairman mentioned, we have to have some partners on board, and you will hear from them a little later, of those who have already given us their commitment that they will be with us throughout this program. The beneficiaries of the program will be, of course, users and potential users of the libraries, including marginalized groups, senior citizens, uneducated individuals. We are hoping to include the JFFL program, high school equivalency, among some of our offerings. And I see the CEO here, Dr. Hibbert. Persons from rural communities, the unemployed, and persons with disabilities, including the visually impaired, all finding opportunities to enhance their quality of life and able to have access to technology through membership and usage of the libraries. There are a number of activities which we have to complete as part of the project deliverables, and one of them is a needs assessment survey. We contracted the Center for Leadership and Governance, and I did see Dr. Waller earlier on. Are you here, Dr. Waller? Yes, he's in the audience. And the Center for Leadership and Governance at UWI, and they conducted a needs assessment for us. And this needs assessment is a document that we need to show us the direction in which we are going to go. And I'll just share with you one or two of these. And one of them was that the persons who, it was a national survey right across Jamaica, and 95.1% of the non-users of the library felt that the library was very important to their community. So I think we are on the way already, you know, in knowing that persons feel that the libraries are important, and so they will see what we are going to be doing as very important. We also have to conduct impact studies, and we have committed to doing 3 of these. One of them is a baseline study, and this also has just been completed. We now have the findings, and we're going to be assessing what it says. And one of the things that it showed was that 96% of the users highly value free access to computers and internet at the public libraries, and that 90% of these users also saw the library as an important institution. So in 2015, we're going to be doing the second impact study, which will look at what improvements have happened, how has the project impacted the areas that we saw in the initial baseline study. And then in the final year of the program, we're going to be doing the final impact study on how the project has impacted Jamaica. Okay, another important activity for the project is training. So we'll be training staff and also users. We'll be doing capacity building for staff at various levels island-wide. We have just almost completed the trainer program, and 50 members of staff are actually doing that at the moment. I think next week will be the last week of that program. We're also going to be undertaking advocacy training for our staff, and this will start in January. A training plan will be developed and implemented for both the staff and users, guided by Global Libraries Training Guide. and we are currently reviewing the needs assessment to ascertain the areas for training for both the users and the staff. Also to be provided from the grant are the following. We are going to be purchasing 805 additional state-of-the-art computer systems to be installed in 127 public libraries and 6 mobile units. We'll be doing the new and enhanced program, new and enhanced network infrastructure, because we do have network infrastructure already, but of course, you know, with the additional computers, we'll have to ensure that we have additional to allow these things to work properly. Software applications too will be purchased, and you will hear more about what Microsoft is going to do for us. And we already have 44 of our locations benefiting from broadband access, which we have received through the Universal Service Fund, and we are hoping, Mr. Cross, that by the end of 2016, all our libraries will have broadband access. Okay, we will also be implementing new programs and services. Coming out of the needs assessment, we're going to be evaluating what the users are asking for, and to the best of our ability and within our resources to see what we can do. Another important component of the project is a marketing campaign, which we have to do. And currently we are developing the plan, and we're going to be the goals for the marketing campaign is to heighten Jamaicans' awareness about the project and its deliverables, and to increase the number of library users and usage of the libraries. Another important activity is an advocacy campaign. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation firmly believes that libraries need to advocate for themselves and to ensure that persons know who we are and what we're about. So one of the major things that we are going to be doing is an advocacy campaign, and we are developing an advocacy plan which is guided by the Global Libraries Advocacy Guidelines. And these guidelines were developed by other countries which had benefited from the program before. And the initial guideline will be based on the findings that we have seen in the baseline study, and the plan will be revised when we have the findings of the other 2 studies. The preliminary goals of advocacy are to increase support for public libraries from targeted stakeholders, including decision makers, to build understanding of the intrinsic value of public libraries in order to make public libraries higher on the local and national budgetary agendas. I'd also like to bring to your attention the technical assistance that we have received from the Global Libraries Foundation. This is not part of the project funding, but this is additional activity that they are paying for us through technical assistance. First of all, we have access, we're members of a world community called Global Voices, which is all the countries across the world that have benefited from the Global Libraries program. So we meet online through Skype or just about an email almost every single day, filling up your boxes, but of course it's a learning for us, so we appreciate it. So select members of the management team are also part of a number of training groups. We have a number of working groups. We have the training working group, there's an advocacy working group, there's a technology working group, and an impact working group. And even as we speak, there are 2 members of our management team who are in Chicago at this moment attending the technology working group meeting. The working groups meet online, and then once per year they meet face-to-face. So they're having their face-to-face meetings now. And so because of the foundation, we have had many opportunities of meeting with grantees from around the world, and our staff have benefited from many trips courtesy of the foundation. Also, 2 members of our staff are part of what is called the International Network of Emerging Library Innovators, where there are 27 librarians that were selected by the Global Libraries Foundation to participate in this network. They have to develop innovative programs. They have to ensure that these programs are implemented in their libraries. And then they meet once per year to do presentations and so on. And we recently met, 2 of us went, and we met with the group in Chile just a week ago. They've also offered us consultancy services, which they pay for. So we have the services of 2 impact specialists, who are one in the UK and one in the US. And we also have the services of an advocacy specialist. And of course, this is not part of the grant money. They pay for these things separately. Project outcomes. Some of the outcomes of the project: public libraries are the technology hubs in their communities. Library users have increased access to technology. Library staff have training and resources necessary to deliver new and enhanced programs and services to meet the users' needs. Increased number of users and members of the library, and increased support for public libraries. So in closing, I'd like to again bring you to our vision this time. We have a vision which we had for 2016, and this vision we had long before we got the grant. And it says, in the year 2016, we are well-resourced, well-managed and technology-enhanced organization with well-trained, competent and satisfied staff, providing universal access to information and knowledge, resulting in excellence in customer service and an information literate society, and having a positive impact on national development. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are therefore looking forward to the year 2016 with great anticipation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Barton, for that very comprehensive and detailed overview of the project. I hope you listened carefully, and I know you did, because I saw that the faces were glued to the screen. And what I want you to take away from Mrs. Barton's presentation is the fact that this grant is significant. It is going to allow the Jamaica Library Service to reposition itself as a critical access point in communities for personal and ultimately national development. We will be training users when they come in to use the technology, and all of this will be offered free of cost. I don't know how that sounds to you, but to me that sounds very good. At this time, we are going to benefit from an item from the Arden High School Choir. And just to tell you that this choir was Television Jamaica's All Together Sing Champion for 2011. They were described by one of the judges, Mr. Dennis Rushton, as a tsunami of worship at the finals when they performed the song, The Prayer of David. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the acclaimed Arden High School Choir. Arden High School Choir, that was absolutely fantastic. And may I add that that was a part of the choir. And you heard the voices. So we thank Arden this morning for joining us and for that lovely rendition. We are now at a very interesting part of the program. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to this part very much. And it's what we are calling our endorsements. A part of the work that we had to do for this project was we had to identify and meet with persons who we felt share the vision that we had for this project. And so we have with us this morning key partners, stakeholders. We have met with them. We have discussed the project and its deliverables, and we're happy to announce that they are on board with us this morning. So at this time, I am going to name our partners on board so far. Firstly, I will start with Miss Queenie Cole, Education Sector Manager, West Indies, representing Microsoft. Miss Cole, could you stand and be acknowledged, please? We also have on board Mr. Hugh Cross, Chief Executive Officer for the Universal Service Fund. We were very pleased. A part of the project, and Mrs. Martin did a very detailed overview, is that we'll be doing a lot of training. We'll be training the staff. As she mentioned, we're currently doing training of trainers, and we're training the staff so they can train the users so that they can access and use the technology for their development and ultimately national development. So we went to mind, we spoke with them, and they're on board happily this morning. So we have, representing Dr. Ruby Brown, Chief Executive Officer of MIND, we have representing her Miss Anne-Marie Smith, Director, Public Sector Capability. We also will be doing a lot of advocacy, as Mrs. Martin mentioned. We want persons to know about the project and its deliverables. We want the entire Jamaica to be aware of it. And so we'll be doing a lot of marketing campaign, advocacy campaign, and we want the media to be a part of this. And we have had our discussions, and I'm happy to announce that this morning we have with us Mr. Ian Boyne, Deputy Chief Executive Officer for the Jamaica Information Service, and GIS is also on board. We also have with us Ms. Nordia Craig, Business Development and Marketing Manager from the Gleaner Company. We have had a very long association with the Gleaner Company. They have really supported our national reading competition, so we are very pleased that they also recognize the importance of this project. We have JPS on board as well. And we have with us this morning Mr. Rhys Campbell, Head Economic Development for JPS, and he's also going to be speaking with us. So without further ado, I am going to be inviting these persons, just in the order that I just mentioned, to come forward and tell us what their involvement will be in regards to the project. And I'm expecting them to come with the pens and the checks and the sign in the dotted line, all of that. Everything will be done right here. We have the witnesses. So I'm going to start with Ms. Queenie Cole from Microsoft.
Miss Maureen Thompson, we've gone digital, so I don't have the checkbook or the pen this morning. Honorable Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites, Master of Ceremonies, Miss Maureen Thompson, Mr. Paul Laylaw, Mrs. Karen Barton, friends at the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to be joining you today. Microsoft celebrates whenever there's an opportunity for growth, expanding the knowledge base of citizens in the countries in which we operate, and of course for any opportunity that allows us to minimize the knowledge gap in the society. In this new era of technological advancement, this is of significant importance. All spheres of our lives is linked to access to technology, whether economic, educational, social, or health needs Lack of internet means lack of access to opportunities. Only 35% of the world's population is connected to the internet. It is no surprise to note that the less privileged will be least likely to have the internet access. In partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Microsoft has found a way to bridge that gap, giving access to some of those who never dreamed it possible. To date, the foundation has footprints in over 100 countries and have made over $31.6 billion in grant payments since inception. Today, we celebrate Jamaica being a beneficiary of the foundation. The internet encapsulates endless possibilities. When you have access to the internet, that means you're able to retrieve information, to do research for school assignments, to access job opportunities, to access government services, and to keep in touch with friends and relatives at an affordable cost. We don't have Lime or Digicel in here, right? Microsoft has long supported public access computing efforts in public libraries and in other public settings like community technology centers or telecenters. We recognize that for many people, these settings may be the only places where they have access to technology. In keeping with the company's efforts to bring the benefits of technology to those who do not have access at home, work, or school, Microsoft is proud to partner with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Global Libraries Program to donate software for public access computers in the public libraries. We are working to bring the benefits of technology and technology skills to all. We share the ultimate aim of all stakeholders to use technology to help improve education and learning, create opportunity, and raise living standards for Jamaicans. As we celebrate Microsoft Jamaica's 50th anniversary, what better way to celebrate than to make a lasting impact to the citizens of Jamaica? Together with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we are working in the process of securing a software donation to the Jamaica Library Service. The efforts will go towards enhancing the quality of ICT resources in public libraries across the island. This means that parents, teachers, and students will have access to the latest technology and Microsoft applications, which are popularly used in the corporate world, such as Microsoft Office. Plus, all the computers will be equipped with Windows 8, allowing access to millions of Windows apps. Users will also have access to our digital literacy curriculum, which will help those individuals to easily grasp and learn the fundamentals of computing, internet, productivity programs, and especially computer security and privacy. With the increasing access that students have to tablets and the internet at school, we believe parents need to know how to protect against internet predators and access of inappropriate contents. In order to play that role, however, the parents must first know how the internet works and how to manipulate it. We are pleased to provide that opportunity for them to learn. We know this will have a significant impact on improving internet literacy and usage in Jamaica, and we thank the Jamaica Library Service for facilitating this platform for a positive difference in the country. Continue to raise the standards and impress upon Jamaicans the importance of taking the relevant steps to equip themselves for this changing world. You have assisted in channeling a positive energy and path for the lives of hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans, and we have every confidence that you will continuously push to exceed the expectations and your mandate. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Microsoft are proud to partner with you to continue to make us and Jamaica proud. Thank you.
Master of Ceremonies, Miss Maureen Thompson, Honorable Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites, Mr. Paul Layla, Chairman of the Jamaica Library Board, Mrs. Karen Barton, Executive Director of the Jamaica Library Service, other members of the Jamaica Library Board, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. The Universal Service Fund is fully cognizant of the critical importance of the library services. I want to begin by congratulating Jamaica Library Service for the sterling work that they have done over the years. I vividly recall as a young boy growing up in Sanguinetti, Clarendon, there are two ways you could access the services of the Jamaica Library Service. You would travel the 40 miles to Maypen by bus, or you would use the Jamaica Postal Service. And we did access the Jamaica Library Service. The good news is that now young children in Sanguinetti have a library within walking distance. Our current board, our past boards, our employees recognized how important the library services are for the development of our country, as a consequence of which we have consistently been providing financial assistance to the JLS. As a matter of fact, of the $11.7 billion that we have collected as revenue for our programs, the Jamaica Library Service is the second largest beneficiary. And I must tell you, next to the schools, wherever I go, I find Reverend Twaits. And we believe that we are partnership in with very important projects for the development of our country. We have provided funding for equipping the libraries with computers on more than one occasion, but importantly, as you heard from Mrs. Barton, we have provided connectivity for them to what we call our island-wide broadband network. 44 libraries have already been connected. We are now evaluating proposals for connecting the remaining libraries. We will not be able to connect all libraries at one fell swoop, and so Mrs. Barton has given us the libraries in order of priority. Interestingly, that broadband network is provided by two providers, Lime and Flow. Breaking news is that Cable and Wireless has acquired Columbus Communications. It's breaking all over. Reuters, AP, Gleaner, Observer. Breaking news. So we don't know what the implications of that will be. But not only do we fund the initial capital cost, which is significant, we fund the significant monthly expenses for connectivity to this broadband network. When I look at the mission, I read the mission of the Jamaica Library Service, I realize that it is in full synchronization with our own mission, which is to ensure that every Jamaican resident has easy and reliable access to the information superhighway. The library is one of our better partners in achieving that goal. They have appealed to us for assistance in improving their efficiency, because in some areas they are a little bit outdated in terms of their library management system. And we are now examining the extent to which we can provide assistance for an integrated library management system. The way we look at things is that anything we do must be all-inclusive. We do not want to marginalize any category of Jamaicans. And I believe, in fact, I know the library services has the same view. As a consequence of which, we also have provided specialized software for some of the libraries already for the visually impaired users. We have always supported, we support now, and we pledge that we will always support the Jamaica Library Service in its mission. Thank you.
Master of Ceremonies, Ms. Maureen Thompson, Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites, Mr. Paul Layla, Chairman of the Jamaica Library Board, Mrs. Karen Barton, Director General, Jamaica Library Service, members of the Board of the Jamaica Library Board, distinguished guests. I am here representing the Management Institute for National Development. MIND is the government of Jamaica's training, organizational, and leadership development institute. And we exist to do one thing, and that is to ensure that the public service has the capability, the human resource capacity, and the competencies to do what is required to deliver impactful citizen services. And so we offer training and development programs as well as consultancy and outreach services that are strategically developed to enhance the professionalism and performance quality of public service professionals towards transforming and modernizing the public service. Our products and services enable public servants to deliver impactful citizen services and enable government to govern. I believe that the public library, among many other things, is a public good. And it's a public good which provides capital by which people can empower themselves, by which government can govern, and through which communities can be developed. And like MIND, the library service is consistently challenged to create and sustain the kind of products which can bridge the past, the present, and the future. This intensive technology infusion and technology inclusion thrust is very timely. MIND's main role in this partnership is related to outcome 3 as outlined by Mrs. Barton earlier. And that is to ensure that library staff have the competencies to develop and to deliver new and enhanced programs and services to meet user needs. As you also heard, that process has already started. Because over the last couple of weeks, we have designed, developed, and are delivering a train-the-trainer program, and so far, we have touched 50 members of the Jamaica Library Service team, and others will be trained as well. We are still in the process of training those 50 persons. And while we are a new partner for this initiative, we at MIND do not consider ourselves to be new partners of the Jamaica Library Service because we have been providing training and development services to staff of the library service for many years. It is expected, and it was shared earlier, that having gone through this train-the-trainer program, members of staff will themselves be able to design, to develop, and to deliver bespoke interventions for library users and other community beneficiaries and stakeholders right across the island. We're also going to be involved in training related to advocacy, ICT generally, and interrelated training. MIND is in. We are very pleased to be a part of this partnership, and we are particularly pleased that we are, as a country, we are embarking on this project that is going to be doing so much to enable our national development. Indeed,
technology empowerment is not something that we can continue to dismiss, but it's something that we have to continue to put more and more of our resources, our time, and our effort into. So I speak on behalf of my agency when I say that we are very, very pleased and proud for the very, very proud of the Jamaica Library Service for having gotten this grant, and for not just capacity development that's going to be happening, not just for Jamaicans, but particularly for the members of staff of the Library Service. I am a product of the Jamaica Library Service, not just because I use the services growing up in the country myself many years ago, but when I left high school, my first job was with the Jamaica Library Service. Yes, I did work with the Jamaica Library Service in Westmoreland many, many years ago. And I was responsible for a little library in a place called Little London. And I think I used the library more than everybody else in the community. There was nothing in that library that I didn't read. I went there as a reader, and I continue to be a reader. And I see my nieces and nephews in Westmoreland now making attempts consistently, not just to go to Savlamar to use the library there, but to try to access library resources, not just through the Jamaica Library Service, but from wherever they can on the internet, whether it is through the institutions that they study with, or through open source opportunities that are available on the internet. And so I'm very, very aware, and mind is very, very aware and very conscious of how important this project is to Jamaica, to individual persons within our society and within our community, and to what it is that we need to do for education and training in Jamaica generally. Thank you very much for having invited our partnership. And as I said before, we're in, and we will continue to be in, not just in relation to this project, but any project that the Jamaica Library Service embarks on that has to do with national development. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Madam Master of Ceremonies, Lorraine Thompson, Honorable Reverend Ronald Thwaites, Minister of Education, other distinguished members of the head table, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the CEO of the Jamaica Information Service, Mrs. Donna Marie Rowe, who is overseas on government business, may I say how delighted we are at the JIS to be partners with the Jamaica Library Service. And while this might be a polygamous union of sorts, I draw on the Christian concept of oneness as justification for our involvement. But outside of that, there's a natural partnership between the Jamaica Information Service and the Jamaica Library Service. We are both in the business, the thrust of information dissemination, information generation, the promotion of information as a public good. And we see this project using technology to empower individuals and communities for development as an important vehicle to rebrand the Jamaica Library Service and also to enhance its role as a primary institution of value in communities. We will be using all of the resources of the GIS, the various platforms that we have, to publicize this initiative, to make people know about the initiative, to encourage people to go to the public libraries, to use the public libraries, and to use the public libraries as a means of self-empowerment, as a means of contribution to community and to nation. We do need to restore the primary value of education in our society. I know this is something that the Minister of Education has been very passionate about. We need to make people, especially the young, know that learning rocks, that it is cool to learn. It is cool to be enthusiastic and passionate about knowledge. Our role as the GIS is to help to develop a more informed citizenry, to help develop citizens who are aware of their communities, who are aware of national issues, who are aware of international issues, which impinge so greatly on community and national issues. We believe that this is impossible without access to information. And therefore, a project like this, which increases people's access, especially the access of the marginalized, the access of those who would not have had normally the resources provided through a program like this, the resources provided through the library. We believe that this is an important facility for these persons now to have access. But we think it's not just a matter of marginalized groups, not just a matter of the poor being able to help to bridge the still vast digital divide. It is also a matter of enhancing communities of learning, social networks, so that the libraries become more and more places where people who have common interests in learning, common interests in earning can come together, so that rather than atomize individuals being at home, exploring the internet, they can come together with others who have common interests, who have a common passion for learning and earning and for development. They can come together and build a social network. So we heartily congratulate the Jamaica Library Service for this initiative. We especially congratulate you for your persistence. The fact that it was over a number of years that you continued plugging away, not taking no for an answer, but continue making your requests until finally that request was granted. We salute you. We are very proud to be on as partners. And ahead of any checkbook, we are streaming this event live. So we are showing our commitment in a very tangible way. And we are pledging our commitment beyond this launch. We are going to be partners for life. That is the commitment that we make. I thank you, Elizabeth.
The Honorable Reverend Ronald Thwaites, Minister of Education, Master of Ceremony, JSL Chairman, board members, management, staff, other distinguished guests, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I have a prepared speech, but one of the things that I noticed through the thread of all the other speakers this morning was pledging to be a part of this program, commitment to being there for the long haul. And I mean, I have coincidentally or otherwise used the same words, but it heartened me to know that there are just so many organizations who can stand here and, if you look at the faces, really say and mean that they are a part of the program that's going to be going on here. I really think we have a great cohort starting out with, and it can only ensure the program of success. Having said that, I know that since its inception 180 years ago, the Gleaner Company has had a vested interest in the development of Jamaica and Jamaicans through all the products that it used to have, and we start. Children's Zone is one of the things that you all would know about. Originating from the single sheet that we started out with in 1834, the Gleaner has been on the cutting edge of technology, becoming the first newspaper in the Caribbean, possibly in this hemisphere actually, to Caribbean and Latin America, to go online in 1998. We have since then transitioned to a multimedia company that has a number of products online, news apps, videos, etc., as well as radio as part of our offerings. In 1948, when the library service was created out of a need for a structured library service in Jamaica, bringing together independent libraries that existed throughout the parishes, Jamaica took another step forward to development. Since the new millennia, recognizing the need for changes in service delivery methods, the JSL has introduced computers for the use of the public. Today, rapid advancements in technology, and need to ensure their continued relevance, and to an increasingly savvy or technologically savvy customer, and of course the great generosity of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the JSL has taken another significant step to help Jamaica in its development. The launch of the project, JSL, using technology to empower individuals and communities for development, is an example of the service's innovative approach to the use of ICTs in its underlying fabric, while ultimately contributing to the development of the country's 2030 vision for Jamaica to be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The moment our team sat down, we could envision the synergies. We have a number of products online. Dig Jamaica, which is a resource for research, the Gleaner and the Star e-papers and online editions, the Gleaner Archives, which has information on Jamaica and other world events since 1834. Yes, we do have a few gaps here and there. And the library service already has access to our archives as a daily part of its offerings. But all of those tools, we in our arsenal, put together with what this grant will enable the library service to do, will be one of the great things that Jamaicans can access to help all of us realize our developmental goals. The Gleaner pledges the support to the library service in meeting their major 2016 objectives, but all others as well, as we have partnered for a number of years with the library service on a number, most of your programs each year. We're there for them, helping them in a number of ways. We congratulate the library service on receiving the grant, on staying the course in trying to acquire or be given the grant, and you have our pledge, as always, to support throughout the years, not just till 2016, but onwards. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand the pressure that Usain Bolt must have felt when he was the last in the relay team and required to finish first. It's pretty much what I'm going through now. Madam Chairman, thank you very much for the introduction earlier. The Honorable Reverend Thwaites, Mrs. Karen Barton, Director General of the JLS, and Mr. Paul Layla, Chairman of the Jamaica Library Board. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, other distinguished guests. Good morning. It is said that the only constant in life is change. That's a maxim that is a living testimony to what the Jamaica Library Service is here doing today. The traditional methods of service delivery for the library has changed or have changed significantly. People's expectations of the Jamaica Library Service have also changed. It's not just books anymore. I recall in my own personal experience, when I needed to do research, and I know I look very young, so just bear with me. When I had to do research, there was no internet. It was a shh. I acknowledged it, shh. Had to use encyclopedias, right? Open the encyclopedias, search through, leaf through. Now I wonder how many of my nieces would be doing that right now. How many of us, if we're in an argument, the first thing we do is we reach for our telephones and we say, let's Google it. We're not looking for encyclopedias. The increased demand for access to computers and the World Wide Web is the new normal for libraries. And the Jamaica Library Service is absolutely no exception. Incorporating technology into your affairs, your everyday business, into your core business or your core service is good for Jamaica, and it's good particularly for ensuring that with the logistics hub that is due to take place, or we're already starting to see the benefits of that. But over the next 3 years, we need to get our education and our labor force ready for the logistics hub. And this initiative is one of the ways that that can take place. So you're probably wondering, why is this young man from the Jamaica Public Service standing here before you? JPS, like the Jamaica Library Service, we recognize that we have to do everything in our power to meet the changing expectations. You see what I did there with power? You see what I did there? We realize that, and we want to do everything to meet the expectations of our stakeholders. One of the offerings that we have, or that we've introduced last year, is what we call a solar mill, which generates electricity based on solar power. So, as you can imagine, computers will consume quite a bit of electricity. So, through the donation of 3 solar mills to the Jamaica Library Service, we will be a part of change. So it is our hope, or we will, I shouldn't say hope, we will be implementing the mills in 3 regions of the Jamaica Public Service, being St. James, Manchester, and Kingston and St. Andrew. I put it to you, that's a start. That's a start. And we have good days ahead of us. Now, I think it's time for me to wrap up. And I will just close with you. I want to leave you with a quote from a book that I read, paper. Frantz Fanon said, each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. In the 3rd millennium, adapting to change and technology is not useful, it is essential. We have found our mission. We know our destiny. Let us work together to fulfill it. I thank you.
Thank you so very much to our sponsors, partners, stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we have strong representation of the Jamaica Library Service family in this gathering, island-wide representation. And if you see us smiling, this is because we are absolutely delighted with what we have just heard. Another round of applause for the sponsors, please. I know that certainly I am smiling. And I want to borrow from Ms. Craig when she said that this group represents the cohort. I want to run with that, so to speak. The voices have been strong, and we are very, very encouraged with this support. And I know that your involvement will inspire others to come on board. I also want you to know that a part of the work that we'll be doing, as we have been saying, is advocacy. And I see you all as advocates. So be prepared to work with us as we go forward. Thank you so very much again on behalf of the Jamaica Library Service. We are going to be switching up things a bit, and we want to share with you what our users, our library users, have to say about us. So at this time, I invite you to turn your attention to the screen as we present you with a presentation from our users.
Good morning. My name is Nathan Gordon. I am a student of the St. Peter and Paul Preparatory School. I am going to tell you about my experience in using the technology at the library. I often use the computers at the public library to do my schoolwork, or sometimes play a game. I always find the computers very useful in completing homework and doing projects. Did I mention that the library has a printer and a photocopier too? Normally, for doing schoolwork, I would print pictures or photocopy information or pictures from books. Boy, I have to admit that the library sure helped me to do a lot of things. I probably did not say this, but the library has 2 computer labs. Yes, you heard right, 2 computer labs, one upstairs and one downstairs. Can you believe all that? The staff at the library is very pleasant and helpful. It is through them that I have learned how to cut and paste and use all the computer shortcuts I now know today. Well, that ends my little talk about the benefits of using technology in the library.
Hello everyone. My name is Temba Mkize and I am an 11th grade student at the Arden High School. I have had the privilege of being a member of the Jamaica Library Service for the last year or so, and it has been quite the experience. Firstly, and obviously, there is a wealth of information to be offered here. It is next to overwhelming, and not to mention the countless friends I have made, both with the administrative staff and the fellow library users. Also, competitive socialization is offered through the National Reading Competition, as well as technological interaction through the free computers and free internet services provided. Development of work ethic is also aided here through their community service program. All of these activities are activities in which I have participated, and you can too, provided you take the simple step of signing up to the library.
Hello Jamaica, I am Donald McCoy, a proud member of the Kingston Center and the Parish Library. I utilize the JLS Public Library to send emails for business, as well as to read the newspapers on a daily basis. The library experience has been awesome. I encourage our non-users to visit the JLS Public Library in our community today.
I know that there are persons in the audience who are now thinking of the support that they are going to give. And I know persons are thinking also of the additional support that they are going to give. But while you do so, I'm now going to invite the military band to present an item. And the band is led this morning by Warrant Officer Class 2 Norman McCarthy, Band Sergeant Major. We want to thank the military band for that wonderful rendition. That medley of songs, it was really entertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, as an agency of the Ministry of Education, we are always very pleased to have in our presence our Minister of Education, the Honorable Reverend Ronald Thwaites. And this morning he joins us, but before he comes, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him that you don't already know. The Honorable Reverend Ronald Thwaites was educated at St. George's College. He was awarded the Jamaica Scholarship to Cornell University and later the Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford University. He is an attorney, a journalist, a farmer, and a minister of religion. He was elected Member of Parliament for Central Kingston in 1997 and was appointed Minister of Education in January 2012. Minister Thwaites is married with 7 children. I now invite him to address us and to declare the project officially launched.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. I pay particular respects to you, Paul Layla, Chairman of the Jamaica Library Service, the Director, the board members, and to the range and panoply of distinguished guests that were here this morning. Dr. Cameron, what a pleasure to see you, the Secretary General Emeritus of the Jamaica Teachers Association, who thinks he has retired. Mr. Farquharson, Mr. Cross, Professor Durant, Dr. McLean, all of the others who are here. Dr. White, how good to see you too. Custis Walters, who still bears that title, Ian, and all the representatives of the various agencies. It's a pleasure to be among you. I do apologize for being late. Even if it was in a good cause, there is no place for lack of punctuality in a modern Jamaica. I've been reflecting as I've sat here on the process of creolization, identified and given character and theory by Kamau Brathwaite, speaking of the way in which the various cultural elements in Jamaica have melded into something which is different from those things from which it was sprung, and become a hearty plant on our own. And whether or not you agree with the fullness of his theory, there are elements of it so redolent amongst us this morning. First of all, I just thought, when I was a schoolboy 50 years ago, trying to sing in a choir, we could never have thought of singing the kind of song that the Arden singers had this morning. Yes? Both in terms of the content of the song and their whole approach, their body language, etc. My single comment is that Arden sell off. And also, although the Jamaica Military Band looked the same as they did then, who would have dared 2 generations ago to have thought that a classical veneer could have been given to all day, all night Marianne and Karimeaki Golinsi. So thank you very much for being a part of the process of creolization. And in fact, it seeps into the very warp and substance of what we're doing here today. My own story is that I joined the library, I think it was about 53 years ago, at the Junior Center at Duke Street. And I went there in order to get access to the fiction which my parents wouldn't allow me to read. And then when this building opened some years after, I joined here right away under the watchful aegis of Dr. Joyce Robinson, whose spirit is surely with us, clapping today. And she would say, Mr. Man, as she used to call all her favorite gentlemen, this is a good thing. But I frankly came to look girlfriend. And for those of us who lacked other opportunities at the time, this was a wonderful place. And is it still a wonderful place? Oh. But that process of change, of which so many of the sponsors spoke, is indeed the theme of the few words one wants to say. If we want to have a different society, if we want to have a more productive economy and all that goes with it, an enhanced social life, we can't continue to live and to do as we have done in the past. It's not going to work. And therefore, every one of us, every institution, has to change our praxis in order to envision a new order. First of all, we have to determine that every one of our institutions adds value, and that every one of our participation, each of our participation in those institutions or personally, similarly adds value. Value certainly in economic and financial terms wherever possible, but also value in terms of social enrichment, of the enhancement of joy, of cooperation, of compassion, the virtues, the values and attitudes, which so often we decry how they have diminished. And the process of transformation is the non-negotiable first principle of education at this educational system at this time, in all spheres of education. We normally speak about what goes on in the schools, and that's very relevant to the libraries, yes, but we're looking at the entire society, because, as has been acknowledged, education is the #1 priority of the nation. Nothing else is going to work unless we have an educated, academically, socially, and spiritually adept population. And we've taken that for granted, or many of us don't really accept it. And the library, every time we pass one, let alone when we enter one, has become a chief magnet, indeed a broker and a lodestar for that kind of transformation. And what we're doing today is to see this in a new light and with new resources. And that's extraordinarily important to the nation. The infusion of technology is the particular element that brings us today, as it has been growing and enhancing the work of the library over the years. And must continue to do so in all of its quickly evolving aspects. The library, through technology, must be an adjunct and a help to what goes on in the school system. We've been scratching our heads this morning at the Ministry of Education once again, because our boys are lagging 20% behind our girls. But what we do know is, even in the incipient months since the tablets have been distributed to some of the schools, the boys are showing a tremendous new attentiveness, interest, even attendance at schools, yes, because they have this manipulative prospect in their day. Well, that's part of what is going to be offered by this new project, isn't it? Yes, and we must be observant and very sharp and very flexible to see how the library can enhance that experience in the schools, where after school and during the weekends, so often what we have is not purposeful activity, but we have idleness and we have regression. Yes? We have an opportunity by the facilities being offered by the library to avert this. Similarly, may I challenge the library service with its new enablement that all of the texts that are used in schools should be stocked at the library, as well as a supply of the supplemental material, because it is not, we needn't feel disgraced about this. It is simply a fact that parents cannot afford to buy all of the school books that are requested of them in the future, in the present. And therefore, if it's here at the library, the school library and the community library, the parish library, it will become an opportunity to enhance students' outcomes. Yes? In addition, we must make sure that we have we take a preferential option for the material that is going to enhance us as being people who are dignified and proud of our identity as Jamaicans. Yes? And that's why Mrs. Barton, I whispered to you, and Dr. McLean knows, works like what Ian Boyne has written, which builds up the character of our Jamaican people by saying, look at what Jamaicans have done, look what I can do. And so many of our other pieces of literature must be available in abundance in our libraries. And we're not being jingoistic and forgetting that foreign learning is excellent for us too, but it means that we must learn to treasure what is ours, treasure what is valuable. I'm hoping that some of our libraries, better equipped as they're going to be through all this venture, will become homework centers. Set aside a little place. So many of our children, can we be very practical today, have no place to do their homework and no environment to do it. I know many libraries offer it already. I'd like to systematize it. And Mrs. Barton, Paul, if there's any way that the ministry can help in this regard, we would be happy to do so. It's not just the school children, however. The best, hear me now, the best thing that any state, any government can offer to its people, yes, is not money, yes, it is the opportunity for the best education possible. That's the pearl of great price, yes. Now, oh boy, what a way the applause! Thank you, thank you. And the truth is that large swaths of our population, for one reason or another, have not been able to satisfactorily complete at least their high school education. And they are at a distinct disadvantage personally in terms of their own ambitions. And also the nation is in terms of the acquisition of our 2030 goals. Surely then we must call upon the library to enter into a sturdy and enduring partnership with the Jamaica Foundation for Lifelong Learning in the rollout of the alternate high school diploma for all of our adults. We have nowhere else to turn to. We will not be able to build new academies, new buildings, but we have our libraries, all of them, at all stages across Jamaica. And I am enjoining, please, since both agencies fall under the Ministry of Education, for there to be no misstep and to be there to be every opportunity that adults take them as they are. Don't set up any barriers. If you don't know A from B, come. Yes? If you've reached 6th book and you need to go further, come. And we'll take you where you are. And make from where you are to make you what you can be and what you want to be, particularly in the subjects of English, mathematics, social studies, information technology, and basic science. Those are the items that can give you the platform for further development and also in study and also for engagement in employment. I look forward to hearing of good prospect in this regard during 2015. Paul Layla is the chairman of the Jamaica Junior Achievement Movement. And I took set on him and he on me at the celebration for Junior Achievement last week. But the library has to become the center where young people, any people of any age, can come and get information as to how they can improve their business skills and set themselves up or confirm themselves in the task of earning an honest income. And therefore, the libraries, I hope it doesn't seem awkward to them, but the training that this foundation gift offers is going to have to be broader than merely the manipulation of information technology, you know. It's going to have to take into account the whole total needs of the persons who will come here. And therefore we want to center not only the alternate high school diploma and the linkage with the formal school system, but also the movement towards business consciousness among our people. There is no BOOPS who is going to come from abroad and provide every one of us who is unemployed with a job. We are going to have to learn and network and craft the opportunities for doing small things first, many failures, but always the encouragement from the community of care at the library that can lift us up to start again and eventually make us succeed. And there are two more things that I would challenge us today. Forgive me if I overload. But the other one is parenting. The National Parenting Commission is at work. But they need centers where people come, centers of credibility and repute, where parents can come and talk about their concerns, where they can learn better the craft and art of good parenting, which so often is not taught at all, is not even discussed, where they can come and in public discourse mention some of the sensitive items which perhaps elude us from time to time, but are critical in our engagement with our children, and which too often we leave to hapless teachers and others to perform when it is our responsibility. If only we were made bold enough and had the information to make a difference. Audience on this day, allow me to say again, I had the frightening but arresting experience a few months ago to meet a 21-year-old grandmother in central Kingston. Yes? And I wondered just to whom that girl, her grandmother, girl who had her child at 10, and her daughter who has now had another at 11, yes? To whom were they exposed? And is there no role for the wholesome connectivity through a project like this, through the passage of information, to the ease and welcome of access? Some people join church, you know, some people join sports or politics, but everybody comes to school and everybody can have access to the library. What a wonderful resource we have, which we must make to the most. We must do more in this generation with what we have. I'm hoping then that we will all join this morning in appreciation of some of these options that are placed before us. Parent places should be at every library, yes? And we should encourage our staff to be open and welcome to those who come with particular needs and able to refer them to those agencies where they can get some help. We offer unstinting gratitude to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for this kind of partnership. This is the kind of aid that Jamaica really needs. It has no strings attached to it, except that we should do what we must in order to preserve our own dignity, not to be the satraps of dependence, but rather seek the aid which will allow us to be independent. I pay particular tribute this morning to Mrs. Patricia Roberts. What a live wire, and what a tremendous architect of all that we do today. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a good day for the Jamaica Library Service. It's a good day for the people of Jamaica. Let us give thanks. I am now supposed to press something. Which one? I must press anyone. And the word. I announce the official launch of the Bill and Melinda Gates assisted Government of Jamaica sponsored program of the Jamaica Library Service, using technology to empower individuals and communities for development. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite Professor Faye Durant to make a presentation to the Minister.
You coming on with that?
Yes. Minister, it is indeed a good day and a pleasure. This is for your office,
Yes.
home, wherever you want to put it. This shows a number of things that we have talked about and are still talking about. The tree and the different services it supports. The digital divide, which we are seeking to change through the bridge, which is the public library service. Therefore, I trust that we will be able to continue along this road and these paths to achieve the total picture which we are seeking for, not only under the project, but on the other areas such as e-government, which you mentioned, as being vital through this bridge and through the various ways in which libraries serve and develop the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Durant. Just to give you a little background on the framed presentation to the minister, it was actually developed by the global libraries. It was a collaboration worldwide, and they developed the idea that represents the change that we want public libraries to make to individuals and communities. I also want to thank the minister for his presentation and also for declaring the project officially launched. The minister mentioned the several options in his presentation, and I want to assure him that the Jamaica Library Service appreciates all these options, including equipping our libraries with resources to supplement the textbooks that students use in schools. In some libraries, we do have textbooks and we do have supplementary material. We also are in dialogue with JFLL in regards to the high school diploma program. And a very significant bit of information I want to convey as well is that the project, we mentioned earlier national development and personal development. And we envisage that when we train our staff, they will be assisting users when they come in to complete like their resumes. If the farmer comes in and he wants to find out more about agriculture to increase his yield, then these are some of the activities that we are going to be implementing with this project. So we appreciate, again, Minister, the options that you have just outlined. Thank you very much for that address. At this time, I want to share with you a bit of history. We are winding down, but I think you will be very interested in this bit of information. As mentioned earlier, we're very happy to have with us the Gleaner Company, and Ms. Craig mentioned earlier that the partnership has been a very long one, and the Gleaner has been sustaining it. They also have been supporting a number of initiatives that we have been doing, and they have ensured that it is in the public domain. I went on the Gleaner archives and I pulled up an article dated Sunday, April 22nd, 2001, and the caption, as one of the lead stories in the Gleaner, was "Elderly Log On to Computer Phone." And I'm just going to read you excerpts from this article. Olive Richards wanted to learn how to send emails so she could keep in touch with her grandchildren in England. So the 69-year-old secretly sought out classes to surprise her family and was excited when she learned about a program at the St. Thomas Parish Library in Morant which could assist her to accomplish this goal. She was one of 6 bright seniors charting a course for others to follow in what is possibly the first senior citizens group to be trained in the use of computer. The 5 women and 1 man representing 6 different senior citizens clubs in St. Thomas responded eagerly when the senior librarian at the St. Thomas Parish Library challenged them to learn to use a computer. In 6 weeks, the elderly pioneers learned how to use Microsoft Word, send emails, and surf the internet. This morning, I want to acknowledge in the audience Miss Beverly Edwards, and I'm going to ask her to stand because she was the person that was collaborating with the senior citizens for that first training. Needless to say, the program was introduced in all libraries island-wide, and today it's a very important training initiative that is being done by our libraries island-wide. And so, as a follow-up to that, we have in our presence this morning Miss Geraldine Daly. In May 2010, at 75 years of age, Miss Geraldine Daly participated in the computer training for seniors at the Clarendon Parish Library, and she was elated to benefit from the free training that was offered. She joined the number of seniors who have been trained island-wide by the Jamaica Library Service since the program started in 2001. She's here with us this morning, and I invite her at this time to do an item.
Executive officers of this wonderful organization. I can't recall your names now, but I am honored to be here today. It's a wonderful experience to be with people who have the library as their first goal. I will just share with you my former experience, but I thought of computers, what I'm doing to the Jamaican dialect. Plenty people have computer. Some put on table, some on lap. But if you ever touch the wrong button, the computer stop rap. Computer not care about women for only email them use. And since me have my pride, me not take no computer abuse. Them correct mistake out of them spelling book. Never a menu but on the food them a cook. Me no see them with no mouth, but some of them can talk. And me wouldn't surprise if one day them start to walk. Me not care when nobody say, me think them dangerous. For me get fairness and tell them about virus. Computer have one something with them call hard drive. If me fool and stand up front of it, me might come out live. If me follow that there's something, me wouldn't come out live. For when the police see them have something named thumb drive. If police see the thumb, him no just call you come. But me find out say them have one blinking cursor. What do you think about that? If you touch a computer too hard, it might lick it down flat. Me not trust computer. For them have Lotus, I give facts, them have database and spreadsheet. Some people say me if you learn it, but to tell the truth, the first time I sit down front of this thing stop compute. Say that me illiterate, but that's how it go. That computer have something against me for I couldn't go on so. But one day, me hear say the Clarendon Parish Library I have computer course. So me no go take me, although my heart a flatter, me no go take the course. Me find out say that me afraid because me find out the computer have mouse and me no harbor them the same thing in the family house. Computer make everybody meet on web, where everybody meet. And me wait to see what happen and then to find out the computer take him see it. But me go take the senior course and me passed, although my heart did a beat fast. Well, me hide them hope me so wide me have to take off my eyeglass. Me find out say all when me want know in a computer. So if you don't have computer, nothing I want for you. The computer have one boss named JPS. Him can only work when JP say yes. So hooray for computer, hooray for library. Because of them, me there today, and more information in there for all the way. Hooray for the library, hooray for computer, all the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, Ms. Daly. We are certainly going to recruit you to do more of those poems for us as we go island-wide with this project. I can't believe it, we're almost at the end. But before we close, I am going to now invite the project manager, which you ought to know, Mr. Rohan Smith, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Masters of Ceremonies, Minister Thwaites, and other members of the head tables, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to have been asked to deliver the vote of thanks for this special occasion as JLX seeks to empower individuals and community through the implementation of advanced technological resources in public libraries. On behalf of Jamaica Library Service, my sincere gratitude to all individuals and organizations who have supported us to make this event a resounding success. Please allow me to acknowledge and thank the following persons: the Honorable Minister of Education and guest speaker, Reverend Ronald Thwaites, for the main address and for officially launching the project. To the Chairman of Jamaica Library Board, Mr. Paul Layla, for extending a warm welcome to everyone. To the Director General, Mrs. Karen Barton, and other members of the management team. A special thanks also to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Global Library Initiative, who through their provision has made this project what it is today. To our partners and other representatives in attendance, the Ministry of Education, Universal Service Fund, Microsoft, Management Institution for National Development, MINE, Jamaica Information Service, the Gleaner Company, and the Jamaica Public Service Company. We are truly grateful for your kind partnership, and we look forward to work with you on the various initiatives. Our sincere gratitude to Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Price of the Jamaica Defense Force for partnering with us. We certainly enjoy the various genres of music being played by the talented Jamaica Military Band. Can we just give a round of applause? Thanks to the award-winning Arden High School Choir for their special rendition. Thanks to our library users for their testimonials, and we look forward to continue support. Special thanks to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, in particularly SSP Fitz Bailey, for deploying his efficient team to provide traffic management. Allow me to extend appreciation to the media for providing extensive coverage of this live event. Special thanks to the JIS, one of our partners, for providing live streaming of this event to millions of audiences, both local and overseas. Special thanks to the hardworking and dedicated staff of the JLS who work assiduously to ensure this launch was successfully executed. Finally, to our Masters of Ceremony, Ms. Maureen Thompson, for so aptly guiding the morning proceeding. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being gracious audience. Can you just give yourself a round of applause?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rohan Smith. And again, I wish to say Mr. Smith is one of the persons that you will want to talk to after to pledge more support, new support, ongoing support. Ladies and gentlemen, your presence here this morning has assured us of your support of this project that we're going to be implementing. And as we go forward to the next 2.5 years, because we already started from 2013, we crave your continued support. And I am particularly excited about the partners here this morning and the endorsements that they provided. And I want them to know that a part of the work that we'll be doing is advocacy. And so I look forward to the partnership with them where advocacy work is concerned. It was John Byng, the late Norwegian writer, who said, "To ask why we need libraries at all when there's so much information available elsewhere is as sensible as asking if roadmaps are necessary now that there are so very many roads." If you leave here this morning sharing the vision and pledging your full and ongoing support, we would have accomplished our objective. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being such a gracious audience, and we close the function at this time. But before you leave, we will have musical renditions still by the Jamaica Military Band, and we also invite you to share some refreshments with us, and also for persons who are interested to do a tour of this library, the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Library. Thank you all so very much.